You're a nobleman in Egypt around 3000 BC, and a man you barely know is about to press a sharpened piece of copper against your throat. Not to hurt you, to shave you. This is completely normal. In fact, if you show up to a temple ceremony with stubble, people will assume something is deeply wrong with you. Except this isn't a razor blade sliding smoothly across skin. It's a thin, hammered copper wedge with zero flexibility, no handle padding, and absolutely no concept of razor burn as a temporary inconvenience. One wrong move and this ceremony ends very differently. So how did anyone survive centuries of daily shaving without steel, without soap, without so much as an aftershave lotion? Quick question. Would you have volunteered to be the first person who tried this? Here's the part that surprises most people. Shaving isn't a modern invention we perfected over time. It's one of the oldest deliberate acts of self-modification humans ever developed. And for most of history, it was less grooming routine and more controlled act of bravery. Long before metal, people shaved with obsidian, volcanic glass, napped down to an edge sharper than a modern surgical scalpel, sharper, in fact, than the steel razor in your bathroom right now. Archaeologists have found obsidian blades in sites dating back over 30,000 years, and some cultures, including parts of Mesoamerica, kept using obsidian for delicate cutting well into recorded history because nothing else came close for sharpness. But sharp doesn't mean forgiving. Obsidian shatters, it nicks, and it has zero tolerance for a shaky hand, which is why the job usually didn't fall to you, it fell to a professional. Ancient Egyptian barbers were skilled, respected tradesmen, sometimes attached to temples, because a bad shave wasn't just embarrassing. It could kill you through infection in a world with no antiseptic. Then, around 3000 BC, Egyptians started forging actual copper razors, small, rounded blades, some shaped almost like a modern hatchet in miniature. The wealthy were buried with them, not because razors were sentimental, because facial hair was considered unclean, even barbaric, and you were expected to arrive in the afterlife properly groomed. Move to ancient Rome, and shaving became a full social event. Roman men visited the tonsure, a barber, in an open shop where cutting, shaving, and gossip all happened simultaneously. Some Roman elites reportedly had their facial hair plucked out with tweezers rather than shaved hair by individual hair, because a completely smooth face with zero stubble shadow was the ultimate status symbol. Now here's the twist that changes how you should think about this whole story. For over 4,000 years, the biggest obstacle to shaving wasn't the blade. It was the edge holding still. Every material, obsidian, bronze, copper, even early iron, either dulled fast, corroded fast, or both. The entire miniature industry of ancient barbering existed to solve one narrow engineering problem. How do you keep something sharp enough to shave skin without it also being sharp enough to open a vein by accident? Steel finally solved half of that problem. By the 1600s, folding straight razors made of hardened steel let men shave themselves at home for the first time, if they were patient and steady enough to strop the blade sharp every single day. Most weren't. Straight razor shaving stayed a barbershop ritual for another 200 years, not because people didn't own razors, but because nobody trusted their own hand with an unguarded steel blade an inch from their jugular. Then in 1901, a traveling salesman got frustrated enough with dull, straight razors to invent something almost absurd for the time. A razor with a thin, cheap, disposable blade you could throw away instead of sharpening. Investors thought it was a joke. Nobody wanted a razor you couldn't fix. By 1904, that salesman had sold over 90,000 of them anyway. So picture that Egyptian nobleman again, copper blade at his throat, trusting a stranger's steady hand because the alternative was showing up to a ceremony looking uncivilized. 4,000 years later, you do the same basic thing every morning in about 90 seconds, alone, half asleep, without a second thought. Same ritual. Same risk, technically, just a lot less bravery required.